How are we doing, guys? Welcome to the preview and the predicted lineup. Arsenal against Real Madrid. Champions League quarter-final first leg at the Emirates. And yeah, these are the kind of games you want to be playing in. When we was playing in the Europa League and travelling to wherever the hell it was that I was travelling to on Thursday nights and whatnot. These are the games that we were missing the most. These are the games that you wanted to get back into the Champions League for. And you've got no bigger test, no bigger obstacle than Real Madrid. The team that turn into absolute freaks when it comes to the Champions League. You can't look at their overall performances leading up to a game and take that as a gauge as to what you're going to get from them in the Champions League match, because they just turn into something different. Now, in terms of their actual form, in terms of the way they're playing at the moment, they're not playing that great. I've been looking and listening to a lot of Real Madrid fans over the past week or so that have been doing, their previews and whatnot to the game. And a lot of them are quite worried about this game, in particular, the first leg at the Emirates. They're not playing well. Some have even said that it's some of the worst football that they've seen at Real Madrid. They're conceding a lot of goals. But they have a threat at the other end that's insane. When you think about the likes of Bellingham and Vinicius and Mbappe, and I could go on and on and on, and it's just insane. Now, a week ago, I would have sat there and I'd have gone, do you know what? We'll deal with that because we got the best defence in world football. Statistically, whatever you want to throw at me, it's the best defensive partnership in world football. But we won't have that best partnership in world football because Gabriel is now injured and he's out for the season. And the other part to that I was really looking forward to with this game is that I feel that Real Madrid are very susceptible from set pieces. Where is one of our strengths? Set pieces. Who is one of the main, men in that? Gabriel. So it's a big miss. But on the flip side, Bukayo Saka is back. And I do feel he will start this game. 49 minutes against Everton. 48 and maybe 50 odd seconds before the referee blew and then decided he got it wrong and to start again. And we know what happened. And around about 25 minutes or so before that. So he's been built up with those minutes. Do I think he's got 90 in him? No, probably not. But if he can give us absolutely everything for 70 to 75, it could be a big moment. And we need Bukayo Saka to have his Thierry Henry moment. We all talk about the game 19 years ago in the Bernabeu. Thierry Henry. We all know what he did. This is the chance for Bukayo Saka to have his Thierry Henry moment. And this is it. Big games call for big moments from big players. And we need one of those moments. I'm looking forward to the game. Like I said, Real Madrid coming into this, I do look at their form in some respects. But like I said, there's a big part of me that kind of not dismisses it, but kind of takes it with a pinch of salt, shall we say. Because in the Champions League, they just turn into this different beast. They're a completely different animal. But you look at them at the weekend, and I watched their game against Valencia, and they lost that game. And it looks like, the title's going to Barcelona. And an interesting statistic, and I didn't actually realise this until I was looking at it properly with La Liga and the table and everything. But we talk about the firepower that Real Madrid have and everything else, but they've actually scored 20 less league goals than Barcelona. And I know Barcelona have, their own firepower, but it's quite surprising it was that many, given what they have at their disposal. And then even the game before that against Sociedad, it was 4-4. In the Copa del Rey semi-final, second leg. And both games that I'm mentioning here, Valencia and Sociedad, were at the Bernabeu. And I know that they went through in the Copa del Rey, 5-4 on aggregate. But it had to go to extra time. They did concede 4 goals. And they looked very, very vulnerable. I don't think they've kept a clean sheet, actually. And since February, I think it was, the last time they kept a clean sheet. Last time out in this competition, they lost to Atletico as well. And they had to go through via penalties. So they're finding a way to get over the line in the cup competitions. If you look at the Copa del Rey and Champions League, etc., and they just are Real Madrid. They just have something about them, an aura, a force field that just brings it all together. So we're going to have our work cut out. But, if we can beat them, then, who's to say that we can't get to the final? The possible, opponents are either PSG or Aston Villa. And either one of those would be ridiculously tough. But you've got to try and get past, for me, the toughest of them all. Maybe not in terms of their strength, but because of who they are. It's Real Madrid. It's the Champions League. It's just different. But yeah, we have to go into this game believing that we can win. If you go into this, even 99%, believing, and there's that 1% doubt, that could be enough to lose you the game. You have to be in it 100%. Every single player. I'm looking forward to the game. I'm buzzing for the game, to be honest with y'all. It's what I've been waiting for a long, long time. All of those Europa League nights and freezing cold away trips to Ostersunds and, yeah. I feel cold actually thinking about that. But yeah, listen, with that said, let's go and get into the predicted lineup. In goal, David Raya. Straightforward. Right back, Jurriën Timber. Again, very, very straightforward. Now, on a side note, Timber will need to be careful because he's on a yellow card. And one more puts him out of the return leg at the Bernabeu. On the flip of that, Real Madrid have got quite a few players on yellow cards, including Rudiger, Vinicius Jr. They've got some big, big players that are a booking away from missing the return leg. So it's not just us, but Timber's going to have to be careful, especially where he takes his time with the throws and whatnot, and up against Vinicius. So, right centre-back, William Saliba. Very, very straightforward. And he will know what it takes to play against Kylian Mbappe. No issues at all. Left centre-back, I do believe that Mikel Arteta will go with Kiwior. I feel if he had a poor game against Everton and got the runaround, then it may well be Ben White and Saliba moving over to that left-hand side and playing a similar way that he does for France. But given the fact that Kiwior was very good and he was man of the match, he will play. And it's as simple as that. Left back will be Miles Lewis-Skelly. Very straightforward. In the midfield, first of all, Thomas Partey. I have no doubts, given the fact he was rested at the weekend as well. He will play and he will start this game. On the right-hand side, Bukayo Saka. he will start this game, in my opinion. I feel he will give 60 to 70 minutes of everything. And we need a Thierry Henry moment from 19 years ago. But yeah, he starts. Next to him, Martin Odegaard. We can sit here all day long and talk about his shooting and what's going wrong and what's the problem. But listen, he plays, and he's playing against his former club. Let's remember that. He was at Real Madrid. So hopefully that gives him enough to really turn up, and having Bukayo Saka back on that right-hand side, hopefully balances things out. Next to him, Declan Rice. Big game needed from him against the likes of Bellingham and whatnot, and controlling that midfield. And again, another one like Jurrien Timber will have to be careful. He's on a yellow card. And what's frustrating is that he picked that yellow card up in our last game. It was against PSV when it was done and dusted, and it was literally the last thing he did before he was substituted. So it's just so frustrating that he's got that, hanging over him. On the left-hand side, Martinelli. First of all, he is also the other player that is on a yellow card. And if he gets booked, he misses the return leg. So those are the three players, Timber, Rice and Martinelli. I feel that Martinelli's pace could be huge in this game for exploiting Real Madrid. And I thought when he came on against Everton, he had some really good moments, and his performance against Fulham was exceptional. And we're going to need to see that again. It's that simple. Not the Martinelli that forgot he was Brazilian. The Martinelli that rediscovered he was Brazilian when he played against Fulham, because he was excellent in that game. Yeah, he could be a big player. Big player, given his pace and what he can do to Real Madrid going the other way. And then up front as the striker, Mikel Moreno, will know all about Real Madrid, will have to play a certain way, will be up against the likes of Rudiger. Tough. But Real Madrid have got problems in defence. They're talking about what are they going to do at left back. What are they going to do with the right back situation? And listen, one thing you do have is Rudiger, and you're going to have, him doing everything he does to, win that game. And yeah, listen, that's what we go with, and it's very, very simple. So that is my predicted lineup. I think it pretty much takes care of itself. I think apart from Gabriel and apart from Havertz, that would be pretty much our 11. What will be, will be. We've got to try and overcome Real Madrid. If we do that, we've got a big opportunity. Big opportunity with another obstacle in our way. And it could well be a repeat of the 2006 final, Arsenal-Barcelona. Never gotten over that. But this is the first obstacle, and we've got to try and overcome that. And this is only the first leg. We don't have to worry about away goals or anything like that. Let's go to the Bernabeu with a win. And, have something there to go with. I feel we let ourselves down a little bit last season against Bayern Munich. Hopefully, there will be lessons learned by that. We'll wait and see. So let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you agree or disagree? If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.